Hey cruisers, I'm Sherry with CruiseTipsTV.com. Let's jump into some awesome cruise news today. Let's start off with the most exciting news, I think, and that is that cruises have resumed in Singapore. That is right. If you are a Singapore resident, it is your lucky week. You can jump on 2- and 3-night cruises too. Nowhere on board Dream Cruises World Dream. Now, Royal Caribbean is not following too far behind. Soon, I believe it's December 1st, on board Quantum of the Seas, Singapore residents will be able to jump on similar short voyages on Royal Caribbean. So very exciting. Good things are happening, folks. Speaking of good things happening, this is all the buzz this week. We all know that with the new CDC conditional sailing order that's been put forth, that the cruise lines will be required to bring volunteers on board, right? To do some test voyages. Well, we are hearing loud and clear that cruisers are anxious to raise their hand and volunteer for these cruises. So we stopped by RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com to see what Matt had to say about this, and he's reporting that Royal Caribbean Senior Vice President of Sales, Trade Support, and Service, she's basically the travel agent liaison executive for Royal Caribbean, Vicky Freed, told travel agents that a combination of cruise line employees and volunteers would be used on board a series of test cruises in order to test out the new health and safety protocols. Freed told travel agents it has not been decided how they would pick volunteers. They haven't decided how they're going to pick people. They know that it will definitely be their employees and that you must be 18 or older, but they may possibly be looking for volunteers. Of course, if we hear anything about a way to sign up for that, you'll be the first to know. But as of now, we don't know. But we do know that people are all over social media saying, hey, pick me, pick me. Please be aware, though, if you are one of these people who's interested in that these particular test sailings will most likely require that you get a note from your doctor saying that you have no pre-existing conditions. And also, it will be work. You know, they're going to be doing simulations and drills and mock evacuations and things like that. So I think people need to make sure that they're aware of what the CDC is expecting of the cruise lines in those voyages. But for right now, nobody's taking any volunteer signups that we know of. More good news, this time out of the Caribbean, Sea Dream Yacht Club has resumed cruises out of the Caribbean, starting in Barbados. Now, these are very, very small ships. You may have seen them on the news this week. I know Jean Sloan from the Points Guy was reporting on it. Cruise With is on the voyage, the transatlantic. So there's been a lot of buzz about it. Now, every passenger that's getting on Sea Dream 1 must test negative for COVID at least twice before being allowed to board. Once before they leave their hometown, and then again while they're waiting at the terminal, they're getting the traditional PCR test, the invasive one that goes up your nose. It sounds like the country of Barbados is requiring that as well. So the first test that you get in your hometown is so that you can go to Barbados, and the second one is a second test so that you can board the Sea Dream yacht, which looks very, very beautiful. It is a very small ship experience, though. So yes, of course, this is somewhat indicative of what's to come, but we're talking about 50 to 100 passengers, certainly not in the thousands, and they have different rules, really, for cruising. There have been some photos that have been posted this week where the guests and the employees were not wearing masks, and there was some shakeup over that. And so that's been a point of discussion, but apparently they feel that because everyone's already been tested and the employees quarantined for so long that those masks aren't necessary, although social distancing certainly is. Now for the big shakeup this week down in Key West. It is true that Key West voters opted to ban large cruise ships. There was a referendum on the ballot. I don't think anyone really thought that this was going to pass, but more than 60% of Key West voters sent that message to the cruise industry on election day. And those three measures do a few different things. They limit the size and type of cruise ships that can dock and the number of passengers who can disembark. Now, these new rules face some legal challenges, and according to Cruise Radio, this is going to a jury trial, so this is not over yet. But let's talk about the details of these referendums. One of the referendums prohibits cruise ships with more than 1,300 passengers from docking in Key West. Now, if you think about it, even the smallest Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Norwegian ships, Disney ships have more than 1,300 passengers, so they would not be allowed to dock. The second referendum limits the number of daily cruise ship visitors to a total of 1,500. And the final referendum gives docking priority to cruise lines that have the best health and environmental records. So I think there's more to come on this. CLIA, the Cruise Lines International Association, said that they are still assessing the situation, but they said, and I quote, "For now, I can tell you the cruise industry places incredible importance on being a strong partner in the communities where we visit, and we believe open dialogue and communication is a critical part of that. We hope to have that opportunity in Key West." So I think this dialogue is going to continue for a little while. If you've been following the news this week, you may have heard that some cruise lines have canceled sailings in Europe, but I think it's very important to note that not all of them have. Basically, the cruises have been canceled in areas where there are viral hotspots and resurgences. So let's break down who's canceling and where. Costa Cruises announced the temporary suspension of Costa Deliciosa. I hope I'm saying that right. It always makes me hungry when I say Deliciosa. Those cruises that are going to Greece, by the way. So they're citing new restrictions on travel in that area. The Deliciosa has been offering 1-week cruises, calling it Trieste, Katakalon, Athens, Heraklion, and Bari, and she's going to end that current cruise on November 7 in Trieste. Then she's going to pause until the day after Christmas. Then on December 26th, she'll pick up operations again and will sail an Italian itinerary cruising the Adriatic and the Eastern Med with stops in Trieste, Bari, Brindisi, and Catania. Costa Smeralda, the other Costa ship, which is currently in service, will continue to sail in Italy for now. So it was just Deliciosa that's paused for now. Similarly, MSC is reporting that they are canceling their Magnifica sailings from November 8th through December 18th. However, Grandiosa will continue operating her 7-night Western Med itineraries, and she has extended current sailings through March 27, 2021. Now, the suspension of service on Magnifica was made as France and Germany started to tighten up their travel rules. And because those two nations are big source markets for Magnifica, that was just a necessity. Now, TUI Cruises has also suspended the operations of Mein Schiff 6 in Greece after news of a stricter lockdown that's taking effect on November 7th, or that took effect on November 7th. So they're going to run one last cruise from Corfu without port stops, and it'll all be sea days. Well, what do you think about all the cruise news this week? How are you doing? What are your holiday plans? Update us in the notes below or the comments below. It was wonderful spending some time with you today and updating you on the latest. Be sure to go to CruiseTipsTV.com for all the latest news releases. In fact, we'll link to as many of these articles as we possibly can in the description of this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, we'll see you on the high seas.